Maria Elena Suarez, a 60-5-year-old retired teacher who had dedicated her life to teaching literature in a modest provincial school, was about to live an experience that would challenge everything he believed learned about life and death. It all began with the acute pain in the chest, while corrected some essays former students of mine in the tranquility of my study. At first, I tried to ignore it, convincing myself that it was just the result of too many cups of coffee and late nights without sleep. But fate had other plans. Within minutes, I found myself struggling to breathe, and the last thing I remember before everything went black was the distant sound of ambulance sirens. The doctors told me after I was technically dead for 3 minutes and 40-2 seconds. Cardiac arrest, they said, but what I experienced during those brief moments defies any medical or scientific explanation. It was a journey that took me beyond the limits of our earthly understanding, up to I find that it would change my perspective forever. The place where I found myself was unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was not the traditional sky that describes us the religious books, nor neither a space empty and dark. It was an intermediate realm, bathed in a golden light that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The air vibrated with a peculiar energy, as if each molecule were alive and conscious. While floated in this ethereal space, I noticed that I was not alone. Luminous figures moved around me, some clearly recognizable as human beings, others more ethereal and difficult to define. But among them all, one presence stood out, with a magnetic force that attracted my attention irresistibly. There, sitting with the same dignity that he maintained throughout his earthly life, was Queen Elizabeth II. She was not wearing the crown nor the jewels of the British royalty, but was presented with a sublime simplicity that, in some way, made it look even more majestic. Its face radiated a serenity I had never seen before. None of his photographs or public appearances. "Welcome," he said, with a voice that seemed to resonate so much in the air, as if inside my own conscience. "I was waiting for you." These words left me perplexed. How could the longest reigning monarch of the history British be waiting for me? A simple literature teacher from a Latin American country? "The hierarchy's earthly things mean nothing here," he continued, as if he had read my thoughts. "In this place, we are all equal before the eyes of the universe." What followed it was a conversation that transcended time and the space, a talk that covered topics ranging from the weight of responsibilities to the true nature of the power and purpose of our existence. The Queen shared with me perspectives and reflections that never had revealed in life, deep thoughts about the meaning of duty, love, and the service to the others. "For 70 years, I carried the crown of a nation," he confided to me, with a look that reflected both pride and melancholy. "But here I have learned that the true royalty does not reside in the jewels that adorn our head, but in the manner in which we treat the others and in the legacy of love we leave behind." He told me about his regrets, not as a monarch, but as a human being, of times when protocol and duty came between her and her family, of decisions that were made guided by the expectations of others instead of your own heart. But also she shared her deepest joys, her love for her husband Felipe, the pride in their children and grandchildren, and the satisfaction of having served his people until their last breath. "Death," he explained to me, with a serene smile, "it is not the end of the journey, but simply a change of perspective. From here, I see with clarity that every decision we make, every word we speak, every gesture of kindness or contempt, creates ripples that spread far beyond our comprehension immediate." While we were talking, the space to our around it seemed transformed, reflecting the themes of our conversation. I saw scenes from his past life, moments of loneliness in the great halls from Buckingham Palace, laughter shared with their loved ones away from the cameras, and the silent moments of doubt that he never shared with the world. "True power," he continued, "does not lie in the ability to control others, but in the ability to stay true to oneself while serving a greater purpose." During my reign, I sought to embody this truth, although not always it was easy. The Queen confided to me that from this new plane of existence, she could clearly see how each challenge in his life had served a greater purpose. Crisis, the scandals, the losses personal. Everything was there contributed to forging not only his character, but also to strengthening the ties between people who surround it. The pain and the happiness, they are two sides of the same coin, same currency, he mused. Without one, we couldn't truly appreciate another. This is a lesson that is only fully understood when observed life from this perspective. As the conversation deepened, the Queen shared with me visions of the future, not as concrete predictions, but as possibilities that depend on the decisions collective of the humanity. He spoke to me about the importance of the unit in an increasingly divided world, need to preserve our humanity in an era of unprecedented technological advances. The world is changing at a dizzying pace, he observed, with a mixture of concern and hope, but the fundamental values that sustain our humanity remain unalterable. Love, compassion, the integrity, the service to the others. These are the true pillars of any prosperous society. As our conversation was approaching its end, I felt an urgency growing from retaining every word, every gesture, every teaching that the Queen had shared with me. As if sensing my anxiety, she took my hands between his own, a gesture that in life would have been unthinkable given royal protocol. Do not be afraid, he told me, with a motherly sweetness. The truth you have learned here will remain with you. Your task now it is about sharing not only my words, but the essence of what you have experienced. That love transcends all barriers, which the service to the rest is the path toward the true realization, and that the death is not an end, but a transformation. And at that moment, I felt a gentle but insistent force begin to draw me away from that extraordinary place. The figure of the Queen began to fade, but her last smile was left recorded in my memory forever. Remember, were his last words, that each of us carries within it the ability to be real in the true sense of the word, not for the titles we hold, but for the nobility of our actions and the purity of our intentions. I woke up in the intensive care unit surrounded by doctors amazed by my recovery. The machines recorded vital signs stable, but I knew that something fundamental had changed inside me. The experience I had lived through had not only given me a second chance at life, but also a new one. Mission. Since then, I have dedicated my time to sharing this message of hope and transformation. I have seen how the Queen's words resonate in people of all ages, origins, and beliefs, reminding us that beyond our apparent differences, we all share the same divine essence. This experience taught me that life is much richer and more mysterious than we imagine, that the connections between souls transcend the barriers of the time and the space, and that love is truly the most powerful force in the universe. While I write these words, I feel the serene presence of Queen Elizabeth II, not like the monarch who knew the world, but as the wise and compassionate soul who showed me a glimpse of the eternity. His message go on resonating in my heart. We are all one, united in a common journey toward the understanding and universal love. And so, with every person who shares this story, with every heart that opens to these eternal truths, the legacy of that meeting extraordinary continues expanding, reminding us that the true royalty is not measured by the crowns we wear, but by the love we share and the service we offer to the others. This is my story, my testimony of AI. I find that it challenges the logic, but that speaks straight to the heart. And although I know there will be who doubt, I also know that those who are ready to listen will find in these words an echo of his own search for meaning and purpose. Because in the end, aren't we all seekers of the truth, pilgrims in a journey towards the understanding of our own divine nature? Queen Elizabeth II, in his eternal wisdom, showed me that this journey does not end with the death, but continues eternally, enriched by every soul we encounter in his path. And so, while the world keeps turning and the generations succeed one another, the message of love, service, and transformation that I received in that meeting extraordinary continues resonating, reminding us that the true greatness does not reside in the titles we hold, but in the capacity of our heart to love and serve the others. Queen Elizabeth II's message continues to reverberate through every fiber of my being, like an eternal melody that refuses to fade. Every morning, when I wake up and look at the dawn, meeting new meanings in the words he shared with me in that ethereal plane, it is as if each ray of sunlight brought with it a new understanding of that transcendental experience. The people who knew me before and after that divine encounter notice a profound change in my essence. My old students, Now adults with their own families visit me with frequency, attracted by a different light that, according to they say, now it emanates from me. I share with you fragments of my experience, carefully calibrating each word so as not to overwhelm your minds with truths that perhaps are not yet ready to receive in his totality. In the afternoons, when the sun begins its descent and the shadows lengthen, I feel in my garden, the same place where I used to correct exams and plan lessons. Now, this space has become a sanctuary of reflection where the Queen's words charge new dimensions. The whisper of the wind between the leaves remind me his voice, serene but full of ancestral wisdom. I have begun to document every detail of my experience in a special diary, fearful that some crucial aspect might vanish with time. The pages are filled not only with memories of the encounter, but also with the revelations that arise when meditating on those moments. It is fascinating how a simple conversation in the beyond can contain layers and layers of meaning that are gradually revealed. The doctors who treated my case have shown a particular interest in my experience. At first, they tried to explain it as a simple hallucination product of lack of oxygen in my brain during cardiac arrest. However, the precision of the details and the depth of the teachings received they have sown doubts even in the most skeptical minds. One of them, Dr. Ramirez, a cardiologist with 30 years of experience, he confessed to me that my case there has led me to reconsider everything I thought I knew about life and death. The Queen's teachings on the true nature of power and the service have transformed my way of interacting with the world. Now I see royalty in the simplest gestures. In the mother who sacrifices her hours of sleep to take care of her sick son, in the young man helping an old man to cross the street, in the teacher who devotes extra time to a student struggling to understand. These are the true acts of nobility that the Queen taught me to recognize. I have started to organize small reflection groups in my community, where we share experiences and explore the universal truths that the Queen revealed to me. I am not looking for converts or followers, but to create spaces where people can connect with his own inner divinity. It is surprising as the Queen's words resonate differently in each person, as if each one found in there exactly what you need here. The nights are especially significant now. In the stillness of the dark hours, when the world seems to stop, I feel more intensely the connection with that higher plane where I found myself with the Queen. Sometimes, in that state between the vigil and the I dream, I perceive their presence as a gentle reminder that the barriers between worlds are thinner than we imagine. My personal library has been transformed. The literature books that once occupied my shelves now share space with text about experiences close to home, death, quantum physics, and philosophy, spirituality from various cultures. Each reading helps me contextualize and understand better my experience, although none written word can fully capture the magnitude of what was experienced. People who know my story often ask me if I have fear of the death after this experience. My answer always the surprises. Not only am I not afraid of the death, but I see it as a transformation wonderful, a step further in our eternal journey. The Queen showed me that what we call death is simply a change of perspective. It is shed the temporal to embrace the eternal. Synchronicity has become a constant in my life since that time. Encounter, people, situations and messages appear exactly when I need, as if the universe conspired to reinforce the teachings received. Every meaningful coincidence reminds me that the Queen's words on how everything is interconnected in a great cosmic tapestry. Dreams they have acquired a new one dimension in my life. They are more vivid, more significant, as if that meeting had opened a communication channel with dimensions greater than the reality. In them, sometimes I get new perspectives on the teachings of the Queen, as if the conversation to be continued in another plane of existence. My relationship with time has fundamentally changed. It is no longer I see it as a limited resource that slips through my fingers, but as a means to express and expand love in all its forms. The Queen taught me that the eternity is not an infinite amount of time, but the total absence of it, a state of being where everything exists in an eternal present. The seasons of the year have acquired a new symbolic meaning. Spring reminds me the constant rebirth of spirit, the summer the fullness of being, the autumn the beauty of letting go of what no longer serves, and the winter the peace of inner contemplation. Each natural cycle has become a teacher who reinforces the teachings received in that divine encounter. My garden has become a physical reflection of my inner transformation. Each plant, each flower, seems to vibrate with a special energy, as if the presence of the Queen had left a mark indelible in this space. Visitors often comment on the peace they feel when sitting here, unaware that they are experiencing an echo of that divine energy that was revealed to me. Music has taken on new dimensions in my daily experience. Certain melodies, they seem to transport me momentarily to that one sacred space where I found myself with the Queen. The musical notes have become bridges between dimensions, reminding me that the beauty and the harmony are languages universals that transcend the barrier between worlds. Every day I discover new ways to honor the legacy of that encounter, whether through acts of kindness spontaneous, with words of encouragement for those who suffer, or simply keeping alive the flame of the hope in time difficult. The Queen taught me that every moment is an opportunity to manifest the royalty of spirit. The small things have acquired a deep meaning. The flight of a bird, the movement of the clouds, the whisper of the leaves in the wind. Every detail of the natural world seems to contain messages and reminders of the eternal truths that the Queen shared with me. It's like the entire universe would have become an open book, waiting to be read by those who have eyes to see. My old passion for the teaching has become a broader mission. I no longer seek to simply transmit academic knowledge, but to awaken in others the awareness of their own inner divinity. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to sow seeds of light, just as the Queen did with me in that meeting transcendental. That the difficulties and challenges of everyday life have not disappeared, but my way of dealing with them has changed radically. Now I see them as opportunities for growth, as tests that allow me to put in practice the teachings received. The Queen's serenity in the face of adversity has become my role model. Every evening, when the sky is tinged with golden tones similar to the light that bathed that sacred space, I feel a renewed gratitude for having been chosen to receive these teachings. The responsibility of sharing this message feels more like a privilege rather than a burden. And so, while the days become in weeks and months, I keep discovering new facets of that extraordinary experience. Every dawn brings with it the promise of new understandings, and every sunset finds me closer to the universal truth that Queen Elizabeth II helped me glimpse. That love, in all its forms, is the only eternal reality. In this continuum unfolding of revelations and understandings, my life has become a testimony living that the boundaries between worlds are more permeable than we imagine, and that the true royalty of spirit is within reach of all those who dare to open their heart to eternal truths. This opening of the heart to the eternal truths has generated shockwaves that continue to transform not only my life, but also the lives of those around me. Like concentric circles in a quiet pond, the impact of that divine encounter continues spreading in unexpected and wonderful ways. People who used to know me as a simple retired teacher, now they seek my advice in matters that transcend the mundane. Doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and housewives flock to my small living room, drawn by a force that neither they say they fully understand each other. They share their fears, their hopes, and their dreams, finding in the words of the Queen consolation in the guide that their souls long for. I have begun to notice synchronous patterns becoming more frequent in my daily life. Numbers, coincidences, and the meetings casual, they seem weave a net invisible meaning that confirms the interconnectedness of all things, just as the Queen told me had revealed. It is as if the universe itself were conspiring to strengthen and expand the teachings received in that ethereal play. My garden, which always was a haven of peace, has become a true sanctuary. The flowers seem to flourish with more vigor. The birds, they sing sweeter melodies, and even the air seems to vibrate with a special energy. The neighbors comment on the unique atmosphere that is perceived when passing in front of my house, as if a piece of heaven would have settled in this corner of the world. The moonlit nights full have acquired a special meaning. During these evenings, I organize small meetings where we share experiences of personal transformation. It is fascinating to observe how the Queen's words resonate differently in each person, as if each soul draws exactly the teaching you need for your own spiritual growth. Dreams have come true, become more vivid and meaningful. I often wake up with clear messages and precise guidelines, as if the conversation with the Queen will continue in another plane of consciousness. I maintain a special diary by my bed to record these messages nocturnal, which are later revealed to be pieces of a biggest cosmic puzzle. My relationship with time has been completely transformed. Already, I don't feel prisoner of the hands of the clock, but I experience each moment as an eternity in miniature. The Queen taught me that the time is simply an illusion that helps us organize our earthly experience, but in reality, everything exists in an eternal present. The books I used to read for pleasure, they now reveal themselves as maps that help me navigate this new reality. I find deep connections between the ancient traditions spiritual and the truths that the Queen shared with me. It's like the whole human wisdom converged in a single point of universal understanding. The seasons of the year have acquired a new symbolic meaning in my life. Every change in the nature reflects a different aspect of the teachings received. Spring speaks of renewal, the summer of plenitude, the autumn of transformation, and the winter of introspection. Everything has become a teacher who reinforces the message of universal love that the Queen conveyed to me. My old one passion for the teaching has found new channels of expression. Now I impart workshops on consciousness and personal transformation, using my experience as a bridge between the earthly and the divine. Participants often report extraordinary experiences during these sessions, as if the presence of the Queen were manifesting in some way. Manner in his sacred space that we create together. The everyday difficulties have lost their power to disturb my inner peace. When arise challenges, I listen to the serene voice of the Queen reminding me that everything is part of a greater divine plan. This deep understanding allows me to maintain calm in amidst the storms of life, becoming a beacon of hope for others going through difficult times. Music has become a portal to that sacred dimension where I found myself with the Queen. Certain melodies have the power to transport me instantly to that space of golden light, allowing me to reconnect with the essence of that transformative experience. I have begun to organize sacred music concerts in my garden, creating moments of spiritual communion that transcend the words. My relationship with the nature has deepened enormously. Every tree, every flower, every living being reveals itself as a unique manifestation of the divine consciousness. The Queen taught me that everything is alive and conscious, participating in a cosmic dance of continuous creation. This understanding has transformed my way of interacting with the natural world, developing a deep reverence for all forms of life. Synchronicities have been turned so frequent that I no longer consider them coincidences. People who need hear exactly what I have to share appears on my way in the right moment. Books fall from open shelves exactly in the pages that contain relevant messages. The universe seems to orchestrate a symphony perfect for significant events that confirm the veracity of my experience. My understanding of love has expanded beyond the boundaries conventional. Not anymore I see simply as an emotion or a feeling, but as the fundamental force that sustains the whole creation. The Queen showed me that love is the substance same as it is made of the universe, and that the main task in this life is to allow it to flow freely through us. Sunsets have become sacred moments of communion with the divine. When the sun sets and the sky is tinged with golden tones similar to the light that bathed that sacred space, I feel a special connection with the Queen and with all the souls who have transcended the physical plane. These moments remind me that the barrier between worlds is thinner than we imagine, and so, while continuously discovering new layers of meaning in that extraordinary experience, I realize that every day is an opportunity to live the eternal truths that Queen Elizabeth II conveyed to me. Her message of love, service, and transformation go on resonating in my heart, reminding me that we are all part of a great universal family, united in an eternal journey towards the realization of our true divine nature.